Start. Okay, Radhe Radhe, everyone. Today we're going to continue our discussion on Shrimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran, Canto 1. So before that, let's do the invocation. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. All right. So let's do a brief recap. So what all did we see in the previous session? So in the previous session, we saw that Yudhishthira was witnessing lot of bad omens, which was kind of indicating the onset of Kali Yuga. And the people were turning dishonest. There were animals who were behaving unnaturally. The wolf was, I mean, the she-wolf was howling towards the sun, and a lot of celestial disturbances. Everything was, pointing out towards something that has, happened. Something somewhere is not right. And then we saw that Yudhishthira was also talking to Bhima that Arjuna has been gone for 7 months with Krishna, and he's not returned yet. Could it be that what sage Narada said, that it's time for Krishna's departure? Has is he trying to leave? So when all that discussion was happening between Yudhishthira and Bhima, Arjuna comes, and Arjuna is extremely sad and weak and looks very pale. And now Yudhishthira starts inquiring like what happened, and then finally he says that it is time, I mean, Krishna is not there anymore. And he relates that, till now he thought that everything, all the valor, that he showed, all his strength, weapons, victories were all, because of him. But then when Krishna is no more, he couldn't even save his the 16,100 wives whom he was entrusted by Krishna to transfer them towards Hastinapur. So he understood that it is not his strength, but it was the presence of Krishna with him that gave him the strength, like how our breath is with us, right? Because of which we are alive. So yeah, so Yudhishthira, understanding that now that the golden age of Dharma has ended, now it is time for renouncing. So he installs Parikshit as king, and then he embarks upon a journey of renunciation, and gradually they withdraw from the worldly life and they leave, um, following the path of devotion to the eternal abode of Supreme Lord. So this is what we've discussed in the previous chapter. So now let's discuss what is the next chapter. So next chapter is 16 out of 19. So we have like probably one more session and we'll finish with our first canto. So this talks about the conquest of world by King Parikshit. Actually, can you I need to leave for 1 second. Mm. Okay, I'm sorry. Um, all right. So where were we? We were like, okay. So this chapter basically deals with the conquest of the world by King Parikshit and the dialogue between Dharma and Mother Earth. So here the King Parikshit is going to meet the and listen to the conversation of Dharma and Mother Earth. Okay, they are personified as a bull and a cow. So that is what he's going to hear. So let's go. Uh, all right. So as the Pandavas ascended to heaven, the responsibility of ruling the kingdom fell upon Parikshit, their noble descendant. So now let's see how Parikshit governed the Bharatvarsh. So he governed it by with wisdom, guided by his teacher, who was Kripa. So, as astrologers has predicted at his birth that he will possess extraordinary virtues that made him a worthy ruler. Hmm. Um, he was like that. He was very, very righteous and followed the yajnas and all that. So he married a queen. His queen's name was Airavati, and through her, he had four sons. Janmajaya was the eldest among them. And seeking divine blessings, Parikshit, took Kripa as his guru, and he performed three Ashwamedh Yajna. So he was actually following the footsteps of his grandfather, who was Yudhishthira, and under his reign, everything was happening. I mean, even the gods were happy. So there were, even though he was, um, the Kalikal has started, but still, it has not. It was not very apparent in while he was ruling. So he did the Ashwamedh yagnas, and these rituals, generous offerings were made, and the gods themselves accepted them by visibly coming in front of them and accepting it, and the kingdom was very happy. All right. So next is during his conquest, Parikshit came across a disturbing scene. So this is actually setting up the context for the next chapter also. So we'll not be discussing a lot about what happened, but just a brief overview. So Sutamuni is actually telling to Shaunaka Muni that how was Parikshit's rule, because it was one of the questions that earlier chapters he was asking. So the Sutamuni is saying that when he was actually ruling and when he was in the process of conquest, he came across a disturbing scene where a man who was disguised as a prince was cruelly striking a cow and a bull with his foot. So he appeared royal, but he was in truth a you know an intruder, and who was an embodiment of Kali, so who was trying to spread the unrighteousness in his kingdom, where Parikshit's kingdom. So Parikshit, realizing the gravity of the situation, overpowered him with superior strength. So Sutamuni just said that he overpowered him. So now Shaunaka Muni had lot of questions, like why didn't if he was able to Parikshit was able to catch Kali, why did he only overpowered him and not just kill him or destroy him completely, so that that whole reign just finishes? But that was one question. And then he asked that um, how can Parikshit allow that such an attack on a cow and a bull, and this actually warrants for swift justice, so how can he just let him go? And then he was thinking that what is this conversation? Are we somebody's striking someone and someone is letting go of the whole, the perpetrator. So how can that happen? So are we having this conversation just, this is a waste of time? But then he realizes that his story is actually being told by Sutamuni, and somewhere Krishna is going to come, and this is for the benefit. And because he has mentioned about the bull means the symbol of Dharma, and Dharma is actually Yama. So he's saying that, okay, so we are talking about the god of death himself, and as long as we are talking about the Yama. So the sages understood that the presence of Yama would ensure that even in this fleeting world, people can actually relish, and they need not be fearful of death, and this they will be um, uh, the this conversation will be very beneficial for them. So then he said that, okay, people are unfortunate who waste their short life. In Kali Yuga, everybody has short life. So he's saying that short lives and sleep at night and meaningless activities during the day, and they never seek true wisdom. But this is available, and we are fortunate that we are able to listen to this. And then when he finishes all his, the worry and all his lamentations against King Parikshit letting go of Kali, Sutta Muni continues the conversation. He's saying that while Parikshit, so he's going to now elaborate because he had so many questions why this happened. So now he's going to elaborate on that story. So he's saying while Parikshit was, he was in the conquest mode. So he was in an area called Kuru Jangala region. So there that is the place where he received this troubling news that Kali has entered the territories protected by his army. So um so the Kali has not he's just heard that news that Kali has entered. So the moment he has heard that news, hearing this, the king, who was always eager to uphold Dharma and skilled in warfare, immediately took up his bow, and fond of battle as he was, and prepared for war. So he mounted on his chariot, uh, drawn by black stallions bearing gold ensign with emblem of a lion. Parikshit led his powerful army, which is full of chariots, elephants, cavalry, infantry, so all of them, and he's now ready. He is ready to go to those areas which are getting affected by the presence of Kali. So then, where he ventured into various regions, Bhadrashva, Ketumala, Bharata, Northern Kuru, Skima Purusha. So all of these areas, he went and he made sure that justice prevailed, even though the unrighteousness was kind of overpowering and contaminating the minds of the kings who were present there. He made sure he took control of that whole kingdom, and he collected tributes from the rulers. So everywhere he traveled, this was where probably Sutta Muni was saying that Krishna must be there in the story. So he's saying that everywhere he traveled, everyone recognized that this is Parikshit, who was the grandson of Pandavas, and son of Abhimanyu, great grandson of Arjun. So everywhere he traveled, people sang the praises of his noble ancestors and their connection with the divine connection with Krishna. He also listened to the story of his own miraculous rescue, where Krishna actually came, and how he shielded him in the womb from the fiery weapons of Ashwadama. He heard of the deep bond of between the Pandavas and the son of Kunti. Um and their unwavering devotion to Lord Krishna. So all of this he was hearing while he was visiting various different countries, and pleased by these stories, he was actually with eyes open wide with joy. He would bestow them all of those people who spoke these stories and all of that. He will give them some gifts. So then, as he learned more on the Lord Vishnu's earthly pastimes, how Krishna, what all he did, as he heard, his love for Lord actually deepened even further. So, which is also kind of, a part of dharna. Then, as he continued to follow in the footsteps of righteous forefathers, a strange event took place. So, this is where he witnessed the strange event that was mentioned earlier, which was he saw that the mother earth, it was in the form of a cow. Her cheeks were wet with tears, appearing as a mother who had lost her child. So that is one. And then in her seeing her sorrow, so he was actually, what he witnessed was, he actually uh, he actually heard a loud cry initially. So when he went, started going nearer, so he came upon a bull actually standing on just one leg, trembling and weak, which was Dharma personified as bull. And then there was the cow. Her cheeks were wet with tears, appearing as a mother who has lost her child. So seeing her now, he is witnessing as he is approaching them with a loud cry. He is actually um, he could hear that there was a conversation that was happening between the two. That was the bull and the cow. So seeing her sorrow, so the bull was the Dharma spoke gently that, are you okay, are why are you crying? And then he's asking various reasons why she's crying. She's like, do you grieve for the loved ones who is far from you? And are you, I or is it me that you're crying for, because I'm standing in one leg, I stand weak and broken, deprived of my three of my four legs? Or do you fear the rule of unrighteousness because Kali is upon us? Or he's asking that, do you mourn the gods who no longer receive? Because right now in that particular area, the unrighteousness was spreading. So he was saying that, do you mourn for those gods who are not receiving their share of yajnas? Now that Indra is withholding rain, are you crying for that? Or do you feel the pain of the women who remain unprotected, and children who suffer at the hands of their own parents as if tormented? So he's talking about how people are treating each other in this period. And then he's saying that, do you grieve for the Vedic knowledge who is now in the hands of Brahmins who've lost their purity, or for the noble sages forced to serve kings who no longer uphold dharma? So forced to serve kings means, people right these days do yagnas and all kinds of rituals only for their own benefits and not for the greater good. So that is probably what they are talking about. Then he's saying that, are you mourning for the fallen kshatriyas who are now under the influence of Kali? Or is your heart burdened for a world where people are lost in eating, drinking, indulgence, disregarding all morality? So then he reminds that, Krishna has actually relieved you of all the burdens. All the Kauravas, they were actually people who were in their previous birth, they were all kind of rakshasas, and now that they have taken the personified form of humans, so Lord Krishna came and he ensured that all of them are no more. So do you miss that? Does the memory of his divine pastimes bring pain to your heart? Are you missing Krishna? Is that why you are crying? And is it that some time itself has stripped you, even though he actually removed everything? Now again the whole Kalikala came and you're now stripped of your good fortune. Is that why you're crying? So he asked various questions. Then the mother or the cow replied that, you already know the truth behind what why I'm crying. you know um it was due to Lord Krishna that you once stood strong on all your four legs, bringing happiness and prosperity to the entire world, which is upholding of Dharma. Everybody upholded Dharma, and as long as they were acting as per the rules of Dharma, everybody was happy. Happy. So he's saying that she's replying to him. He's saying that in Krishna's rule there was truthfulness, purity, compassion, wisdom, endurance, patience. So she's listing out all these virtues were naturally available in people. And he's saying that, and God himself, he was full of these divine qualities like, heroism, majesty, strength, right judgment, absolute freedom, skillfulness, beauty. So all of this were naturally available in him, and people around him also had all of these virtues that she listed. And since she's saying that, but now that very Lord, the abode of all the noble qualities, has left this world, and the wicked influence of Kali has begun to spread. I'm not grieving for myself, but um, for this world which now suffers in this new role of Kalikala. And then she's saying that, my sorrow is not mine alone. I grieve for you also, Dharma, the chief among divinities, and for all gods, ancestors, sages, because people will lose all the rituals and or whatever they were doing for their ancestors and everything. So sages, holy men, and people of every class and stages of life who will be suffering, who is going to suffer, and who is suffering under the rule of Kali. So she's saying that, my sorrow is not mine alone. I'm not just thinking about myself. that, because of Krishna's good fortune, I became happy, but now I'm actually crying for everybody. If I was happy also, I was happy for everyone. So she's saying that even Brahma and other gods, so she's indicating that uh, eh, eh, goddess Lakshmi. So goddess Lakshmi actually wants to serve Krishna, or you can say Vishnu Bhagwan's feet, right? So she wants to serve, and people actually who are actually exclusively devoted to Krishna also have, in order to just receive a single glance from Goddess Lakshmi, they have to do severe penance, and that goddess Lakshmi actually loves to serve Krishna's feet. And how could I not mourn his absence? And he's saying that the same Supreme Lord whose divine feet once adorned me. So his divine feet had a lotus symbol, and he had a gourd and his thunderbolt and flag, and also naturally when Krishna was walking, he was actually putting his prints on earth, and because of that print, Mother Earth is saying that its radiance filled me with unparalleled splendor, making me outshine even the three worlds. So I was so elated, I was so happy. All the virtues, everything he naturally brought with him when he was present. He removed all evil people, reduced my burden. So, but when my fortune faded, he left me. I had grown proud. She's saying perhaps because of this, that I have grown proud of my great good look, and so he withdrew his presence, leaving me longing for his touch once more. Yet independent as he is, this was Krishna. Actually, he chose to descend into this noble race of Yadus, and he was not under any into any force that he needs to come, or no, he came because he saw uh, his devotees, and he knew that he needs to protect them, and he just probably out of no reason he came just because he wanted to come. So he did not come out of duty or obligation, but out of his own divine will. Then Mother Earth is saying that he saw me crippled, he saw me weak, and he restored me, making me whole again, as if I was his very being, I was a part of his very being. So not only did he heal me, he also lifted the unbearable burden I carried, which was the unrighteous rulers, kings, who in their past lives have been demons disguised as warriors. And then he's saying that not only they were present, these demons disguised as warriors, they had akshunis of armies, which is lakhs of armies. Maybe 7 point something 8 lakhs of armies per Akshuni. So it's like Akshunis of armies were present. So he ensured that, Krishna ensured that he removes all of them. And she's saying that they weighed her down, and Krishna weighed her down, crushing her under their tyranny. So Krishna, with his divine power, removed them from my surface, lightening my load and restoring balance. So he restored the balance. So I say, how can, if I am crying, so how can I ever forget him, the one who both blessed me with his touch and saved me from my suffering. And then he's saying that which woman, can bear a separation from Supreme Person, because he steals away, who steals away by his enduring looks, bright smiles, and sweet words, the hearts of ladies like Satyabhama and others. As Mother Earth and Dharma were thus talking, King Parikshit was overhearing all this conversation as he was trying to reach by this loud cry, and he actually arrives at the bank of Saraswati, where it flows towards the east. So he reaches the place where this bull and the cow was talking, and in meanwhile they were kind of making loud noises also. So that comes the, we come to an end of chapter 16. So let's go ahead with chapter 17. So chapter 17 is all about how King Parikshit subdues Kali. So let's see. So Sutamani continues that now that King Parikshit has arrived at the banks of Saraswati, he saw this shocking sight. So what did he see? He saw that a person actually who's wearing who looks like a royalty. He was holding a club in his hand and was mercilessly beating a cow and a bull. So even though if you see they were beating the cow and the bull, the cow was actually not crying because she was getting hurt. She was actually crying for everybody who was getting hurt in the process of unrighteousness by the Kali. So this helpless animal had no protector, and the tyrant showed no mercy. He was continuously hitting. Could be a symbolism also, like how Kali is causing so much destruction on planet Earth. So the bull, white as the so this is the bull. So he's white as the lotus stalk, stood trembling on a single leg. It had only one leg. Was standing there and was struggling to balance, and his body was shook in fear as a cruel man struck him, and he urinated in terror. So that kind of the terror was what that Kali was bringing, and he was trying to overpower Dharma and was trying to show that you have no place here while I'm there. So the cow, the very source of all materials needed for religious offerings, milk, ghee, and more, was in pitiful state. So this is what King Parikshit is actually witnessing. And she has been separated from her calf, her body thin from hunger, and her eyes filled with tears as wicked man kicked her mercilessly. So now enraged, so now King Parikshit got really angry, and he's like he mounted on his gold-plated chariot, stringing his mighty bow, and his voice thundered like a roaring cloud as he challenged the cruel tyrant. So now he's ready to strike. So now, then very valiantly, to make sure that whoever is this person who is trying to he's committing such a heinous crime, knows that someone is there to protect. He says that a king who allows innocent beings to be oppressed by wicked loses his reputation, longevity, fortune, and even his place in the afterlife. Such a ruler is doomed, for his people suffer under unrighteous hands. So he's saying that I won't let this happen. To put an end to the suffering of the innocent and the distress is the foremost duty of a king. So he's trying to console the Dharma and the Mother Earth also. So therefore, I shall slay this wicked one, this enemy of all living beings, for he has brought misery upon the helpless. Tell me, now he's asking to the bull that who has done this to you? Now you are standing on one leg. Who has taken away the other three, and leaving you in this pitiful state? No soul in my kingdom, ruled by the devotees of Krishna, should ever suffer such affliction. Reveal the name of the culprit who has harmed you and thus disgraced the noble name of Pandavas. So and whoever it is, he shall find no refuge in me, and no matter where he hides, he will live in constant fear, for the righteous are uplifted when the wicked are subdued. So he's very valiantly, he's consoling them and making sure that the perpetrator, his heart is becomes terrified, that he's meeting someone who's not afraid. So I swear that I shall sever the arm of the guilty one, the very arm that inflicted harm on the defenseless. And then he's saying that a king should must always protect those who follow dharma. So those who stray away from righteousness must be punished according to the scripture. So he's saying all of this. So then Dharma actually replies that, so when King Parikshit is asking these questions to Dharma, so but Dharma actually doesn't directly point to the Kali and says that no, this is Kali who is doing this. He did this to me. No, he's not saying that. In fact, he's kind of giving a very different answer. So he says that your words bring great solace to me, and your promise of protection befits the lineage from which you are coming. And no wonder why Lord Krishna accepted to be, your messenger. Yet, we are also perplexed, who is, causing this. We are perplexed by the many conflicting views of the wise thinkers. Who is truly responsible for suffering? So here, when I was thinking about this, why he could have said that it is Kali, but then he did not. So in fact, if you remember the very first, I think the third chapter, where I was talking about how there's a form and then there's a formless Brahman, and everything came out from the formless. Mahavishnu came, and all the other manifestations came. So it is just not the manifestations of form, in the form of Mahavishnu, Garbhodakasai Vishnu, Kshirodakasai Vishnu, and Mahavishnu. So not just that, or the Brahma, or all the other manifestations, just not that, even the feelings, the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, these are also actually manifestations. Manifestations means they are also coming from the same source. So and they are right now manifesting as a feeling, but they can manifest as a person also, just like, Dharma has been manifested as a cow, earth has been manifested, Dharma has manifested as bull, and earth as cow. So they can take any form, they can become a thought also. So that is where this thing is coming, that he's saying that, um how can I say that who is responsible for my suffering? All these sufferings are also manifestations. So that actually strengthens this idea that everything is a divine leela, which is a play. And then that is what he is actually saying, that who indeed is truly responsible for suffering. Some say that suffering is self-created. There are people, different people have different opinions. So he's saying that some people say that suffering is self-created, caused by one's own actions. Other claim that it is the will of fate. And then some argue that it is the karma from past deeds that is the cause of the suffering, while others believe nature itself is to blame. Still, some declare that suffering is given by God. So he's not directly saying, and he's pointing. So- And then he's saying that yet others say that the cause of suffering is beyond the reach of speech or mind. So even beyond, which is kind of pointing out the formless Brahman, everything is coming from there. Suffering is beyond the reach of speech or mind. Oh, great king. Just like happiness, suffering. So that it's just a manifestation. Oh, great king, examine these claims with your wisdom and discern which of them is true. Because everything is that manifestation. That is why we are encouraged to become a neutral, that is equanimous in all the states, whether it is good or bad. Don't swindle between the two. So Sutta continues that when Dharma spoke these words, okay, now King Parikshit became very thoughtful, deeply reflective, and alert also, because he understood that he's standing in, not in front of an normal animal. He understood the complexity of Dharma's words, and he understood that who he is. So his king said, "O noble one, your words are indeed true. You are none other than Dharma, the god of virtue, in the guise of a bull." And then he's saying that, okay, I understood that you do not reveal the name of your persecutor, for you know that one who says, he says he did it. When you are pointing a finger at one person, actually three fingers are pointing towards you. So he says that one who knows that the one who condemns a wrongdoer shares in his karma. So he's saying that, okay, you understand that well, and because of which now I have understood that you are Dharma. Or perhaps the true nature of suffering is beyond human comprehension. We can blame anything and everyone, but it is always going to be beyond our logic, that why certain things are happening. um so the ways of the divine Maya, the Lord's illusionary energy, are beyond the grasp of human thought and speech. And then next, he says that we have already discussed in the previous chapter, but there was a slight correction where I said that in Satyuga, the bull lost one leg because people stopped saying the truth, which is not true. Actually, in Satyuga, people's age was it was in lakhs, so people usually did more of tapa. So when the tapa reduced, that is when that is austerity because of the pride. That is the when the Satyug ended. And then he's saying that in the golden age of truth, you stood firmly on all four legs. But as unrighteousness crept into the world, three of these legs were shattered. Pride destroyed austerity, which is pride destroyed tapas, which is ego. When you were living in harmony, that all are equal, seeing that oneness, we were all happy. But the moment the I came, that I want this, I don't want that, or someone, I will take things from someone, that is when this tapa got destroyed. And the attachment weakened charity. So we will learn in further chapters of Bhagavad Gita that charity can be of three types, where if you give charity for your own benefit, because you expect something from someone, you're just going and giving them gifts, then that is not, that's a tamasic charity. And likewise, when you are not expecting anything and you're giving genuinely, that you're thinking that the person needs it, then that is a sattvic charity. So we're going to if you are attached, oh, that person will do me a favor if I give this thing to them, then that is not that charity. And when that disparity started entering, then that attack weakened the value of charity. And that is when the Kala moved from Treta to Dwapara. And again, the arrogance wiped compassion, that we have seen in the case of Duryodhana. So, and because of which the whole war happened. So now, O Dharma, you struggle to stand on just one foot, which is the last pillar of truthfulness. But so this is where in Kalikala, the last pillar is truthfulness. But even this is under attack by unrighteousness. So because Dharma was asking, no, like, you only decide, that examine these claims with your wisdom and discern which of them is true. So that is why he, like, who is causing the suffering. So that is why he's trying to decipher, and with the deep contemplation he's answering. So he's saying, now Dharma, you struggle to stand on just one foot, the last pillar of truthfulness, but even this is under attack by unrighteousness. And this cow, I understood, now she is the mother earth herself. And Lord Krishna, in his boundless mercy, once relieved her of her burdens, by destroying the wicked who were walking upon her land, adorning her with his sacred footprints. But now, abandoned by him, she mourns like an unfortunate woman, her eyes filled with sorrow. She weeps, knowing that soon these low born rulers who despise the Brahmins, yet pretend to be kings, will take control of her lands. So that, okay, so this is these are the various reasons by which you are lamenting. These are the various reasons by which you have lost your legs. Because he asked, na, um uh, who did this to you, who is responsible for you losing the other three legs. So he's telling that this is what is my understanding. So having comforted both Dharma and Mother Earth, Parikshit, the mighty warrior, drew up his sharp edged sword, and his eyes blazed with determination as he prepared to strike down Kali, the very embodiment of unrighteousness. So now he got Kali. So let's see what happens. Seeing that the king was ready to slay him, Kali trembled with fear, and he threw off his royal attire, fell to the ground, and placed his head at the king's feet, overwhelmed with terror. Parikshit, though fierce. So now he saw that this fellow is actually very where he's terrified and overwhelmed. So Parikshit actually feels a kind of because they are all full of good qualities, right? Divine qualities. So he actually, being kind to the meek, he and even though he is fierce against the wicked, was also kind to the meek. And this guy is, I mean, Kali is actually surrendered, right? So he was a king who always offered shelter to those who were surrendered to him. So seeing Kali humbled at his feet in this state, he did not slay him, but instead smiled and spoke these words. So this is why, Shaunaka Muni was asking why he was not, why didn't he kill him? Why didn't he put an end to it? So this is why, because he has surrendered to him, and that, you can do anything. So then the king said that you have no reason to fear, because now that you are surrendered to me, I'm not going to harm you. But you are the very embodiment of unrighteousness, and I cannot allow you to remain in my kingdom. You have no place in this land of dharma. So in the land of dharma, unrighteousness cannot come, and the dharma is currently standing on one leg. So then, ever since you entered the bodies of kings, O Kali, you have brought with you a host of vices, which is greed, falsehood, theft, wickedness. So wherever you are going, you are bringing all of this. So you cannot just go on spreading like this. These evils follow wherever you go. So these are your friends, like, you just like how when Krishna is walking, all the good virtues and divine qualities naturally walk with him. Wherever Kali is moving, these vices, greed, falsehood, theft, wickedness, sinfulness, poverty, deceit, quarrelsomeness, and hypocrisy is following him. So you cannot remain here in Brahmavarta, which is Bharatvarsha, the sacred land where truth and virtue flourish, where learned Brahmins worship the Lord through elaborate yajnas, and where dharma prevails. You cannot come here. You are not welcome here. And he says that in this holy land, Sri Hari resides in the form of yajnas, blessing all those who offer their devotion, which is, gyan yag, or bhakti, whichever way we are discussing, or we are chanting, singing kirtan. So we are all, people who are involved in such activities. In Lord Sri Hari resides, there, because they are spending that time um remembering him, and he blesses those people. So this land is like that. So here you cannot be. Then he exists both inside and outside all living and non-living beings, like the all-pervading air. So it's also, he's trying to point to this formless, that, he's not just in the form, he's like a all-pervading air. He's present everywhere, fulfilling the desires of his devotees. Sutta continues, hearing these words, um Kali actually trembles in fear that, okay, now um he's already terrified, but he knows that he is not going to be uh he killed. But now he's not supposed to be here. So where should he go? And he's saying that, um so he has this doubt, what should he do? So looking upon King Parikshit, who stood before him with sword raised like Yama, the god of death, ready to strike, Kali spoke in a pleading voice. Kali says that wherever I turn to take refuge, when you heard that, Kali Kala or unrighteousness is spreading in this place and that place, you are going there, and you're conquering them, and you're making the land under you. So, O great emperor, wherever I turn to take refuge, I see you before me, ready to strike. So there is no place for me to go. So, O greatest among the righteous, I surrender before you. Tell me where I may reside permanently as per your command. Let it be a place that does not disturb your rule of Dharma. Sutta continues. So he asks this question that, let me know of, where should I be, because wherever I'm going, you are coming. Then Sutta continues that King Parikshit, you know, besieged allocates four places. He says, okay, so I will allocate this four place where you can be, and then there um you can go. Okay, you can dwell. So he says gambling, drinking, illicit relations, and slaughterhouses, the very source of falsehood, intoxication, passion, and cruelty. So wherever these are, the all these four places for Kali, you can actually go and stay there. Okay. So now, but Kali was not satisfied, and he was asking for more places to reside. Seeing this, King Parikshit gave him one more place to dwell, which is gold. So in those times, the money was all in gold, right? So thus, greed and enmity became the fifth cause of unrighteousness. So, in obedience to the king's decree, Kali took shelter in these five places, which is gambling, drinking, illicit relations, slaughterhouse, and wealth where unrighteousness thrives. So, if you actually see, then Kali actually took, in wealth, which is King Parikshit was wearing this golden crown, right? And he actually went and uh, took abode in over there, and which is the reason for him putting the dead snake around the sage's neck, which was where he gets the curse from the sage's son that you will be bitten by Takshaka, which is the deadliest snake, because you put the snake on my father who was in Samadhi. So that whole episode will start because King Parikshit unknowingly said gold, and he meant money probably, but now Kali had could influence him without him knowing. So from that time onwards, those who seek righteousness avoid these places, for they are roots of sin and suffering. So here also we should not think that okay, the place where gambling is happening and drinking is happening and illicit relations, slaughterhouse is all bad, because again we have to understand that this is also a manifestation coming from that formless Brahman only. So when every manifestation is coming from God, we cannot actually say this is good and this is bad. But the only reason Parishad has given these five places to Kali, and the only reason why those who are seeking righteousness avoid these places, when we embody good qualities, we naturally become kind to others and loving, and that feeling of oneness, the love, everything naturally sprouts within us. But the moment we visit such places, our ego is what is getting enhanced. So that is the reason uh, people seek to avoid these places. It's not about hating or saying that this is bad or that is bad. Thus, any man seeking true blessedness, especially a pious ruler, a leader of the people, or a religious preceptor, must never resort to these five abodes of unrighteousness, because they will naturally become egoistic, and they are only going to spread that among people who are following them, or going to cause pain and suffering to themselves and others, or get into some kind of bad company and do like mantra, you know, influence Kaikei. So similar. So those who wish to uphold dharma should always avoid these sources of sin and corruption. King Parikshit, in his wisdom and righteousness, then restored the three lost legs of Dharma. So he let go of Kali. Now Kali is gone. He knows where to dwell, and then he restores the Dharma. So while he is there, the Dharma strives. So by doing so, he brought comfort to Mother Earth. So as long as same like how Krishna Bhagwan um ensured that dharma is there, like that King Parikshit also ensured. He kept all the things that people talked about him. He was kind, he was generous, he was valiant, it's all the good qualities. So he's saying that even after all these events, King Parikshit, so yeah, by doing so he brought comfort to Mother Earth, who had long suffered under the weight of unrighteousness. Even after all these events, King Parikshit continues. So he continues his rule upon the royal throne, which was entrusted to him by his grand uncle, King Yudhishthira, when he renounced the world to retire to the forest. Shining with splendor of the great Kaurava kings, Parikshit, the most blessed and renowned ruler, continues to uphold righteousness from his capital at Hastinapur. His name was celebrated far and wide. Such is the grandeur of King Parikshit, the illustrious son of Abhimanyu, under whose righteous rule uh, sages, Sutamani is saying, you have undertaken this sacred sacrifice at Naimisharanya for 1000 years. They were going to conduct this um, yagna to reduce the effect of Kalikala. And then he says that his reign, which is King Parikshit's reign, ensured that Dharma flourishes on earth. So this actually brings to the end of the 16th and 17th discourse, forming the part of a story related to Naimisharanya. Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Thank you for the great opportunity. Once again, thank you so much. So I have a question. Was the scenario at that time any worse than what it is now? It's we don't know, right? We probably or maybe similar or maybe worse. So we hear people saying that it will be more bad. So one can only guess and try to work on our own betterment. Okay, so anybody else has any questions? Sandhya, you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm there. I was just messaging. Yeah.
Okay. I think I had one point that I wanted to talk about. Let me just. Um, no, I think I covered it. Yeah, so we have like may so in the next two chapters we are going to discuss on how King Parikshit got into this cursed situation and how Shukha Muni actually comes and his guru comes and talks about the whole conversation about this Shrimad Bhagavatam. So this was all setting the pace for actual Shrimad Bhagavatam. So in the Canto 2, we are going to officially start Shrimad Bhagavatam. So we have now we've learned all this to come to that point. So um uh, we'll start now. So maybe after one more class. So I think we can end the session today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.